the latest military news update. This is AFP Community News, hosted by Rofh Suzon every 12 noon, Mondays to Fridays. Only here on DWDD Armed Forces Radio. One AFP for a stronger Philippines.
Philippine Air Force proposes acquisition of airborne warning system to boost airspace security. 78 IB discovers IHL banned landmines in northern Samar. Flooding and landslides expected in Metro Manila and northern and central Luzon, according to DENR. PBBM to study anti-political dynasty and divorce bills.
Hello to everyone, especially to our troops at Camp Emilio Ginaldo in Quezon City. Today is Friday, July 4, and this is AFP Committee News, your source for updates on the armed forces and other developments across the country. I am Rofh Suzon-Abay, here to bring you today's stories.
DWDD Armed Forces News.
For the brief overview of our news, the Philippine Air Force has formally proposed the acquisition of an airborne early warning and control system to enhance the country's airspace surveillance and battle management capabilities.
Behold the latest military news update. This is
said that AWACS is included in the PAF's proposed Horizon H3 capability list. It aims to provide airborne surveillance command and communication support. Defense Secretary Gilberto Chodoro Jr. earlier emphasized the need to pair the multi-role fighters with AWACS and aerial tankers to form a complete operational force package.
DWDD Armed Forces News.
Relatedly, Defense Secretary Gilberto Chodoro Jr. emphasized the urgent need for the Philippines to acquire airborne warning and control system aircraft to enhance the national defense and fully support the country's planned multi-role fighter program. He said AWACS, which serve as high-powered eyes in the sky, provide early warning, radar surveillance, and coordination among military units, capabilities that MRFs alone cannot deliver. He emphasized that procurement must ensure operational integration, not just aircraft acquisition. The Department of National Defense is currently evaluating both AWACS and MRF options as part of a comprehensive modernization strategy.
Armed Forces Radio.
Some information from Jai about 97 IEB received sound equipment donation from AFSLI to boost community engagement.
Yes, Rofh, the 97th Infantry Kalasaglahi Battalion received a new set of musical instruments and sound equipment from AFSLI during a turnover ceremony at its headquarters in Pinian, Zamboanga del Norte. Lieutenant Colonel Jimmy J. Sanz, commanding officer of 97th IB, accepted a donation included a Yamaha keyboard, mixer, amplifier, and two 1,000-watt loudspeakers. The equipment will support the battalion's civil-military operations, enhancing their outreach and community activities. AFSLI reaffirmed its commitment in supporting the military's peace and development initiatives. This is Jai reporting for AFP Community News, one AFP for a stronger Philippines.
Mines, calling it a clear violation of humanitarian laws and threat to civilians. The Army also reaffirmed its commitment to peace and public safety, urging the NPA members to surrender and join government reintegration programs.
DWDD Armed Forces News.
A mother of a captured New People's Army member called on parents to closely monitor their children's activities, especially in schools. This was after the daughter of Luisa Espina, the vice chair of Hands Off Our Children, Louvain Erica, was allegedly recruited by the NPA. Speaking during the Davao Peace and Security Press Corps media briefing at the Royal Mandaya Hotel, she shared that her daughter was influenced after joining a progressive group at the Polytechnic University of the Philippines. She urged parents to stay alert if their children are involving in groups expressing hatred toward the government.
Armed Forces Radio.
More updates from Richmond. MBLT1 strengthens community ties through outreach, cleanup, and blood drive in Zamboanga City.
The Marine Battalion Landing Team 1 actively supported multiple community initiatives as part of its ongoing civil-military operations in Zamboanga City. Marines joined the GCI Zamboanga Incorporation Outreach Program at Baluno Elementary School. They also took part in a coastal cleanup drive at RT Lim Boulevard viewing deck and participated in a bloodletting activity at Barangay Santa Maria. These efforts reaffirm Marine Battalion Landing Team 1 dedication to public service and partnership building. This is Mon reporting for AFP Community News. One AFP for a stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Richmond.
DWDD Armed Forces News.
The 2nd Infantry Division, in partnership with the GMA Kapuso Foundation, inaugurated a newly rehabilitated 3-classroom Kapuso-type school building at Don Domingo Capistrano Memorial Elementary School in Tanay, Rizal. The project was partly funded by 2nd ID soldiers who donated a day's meal allowance to aid typhoon victims last year. A portion supported GMA-KF's school rebuilding efforts. 2nd ID Commander Major General Cerillo Balaoro Jr. emphasized the military's role in nation-building beyond combat. The initiative reflects 2nd ID's ongoing commitment to community development, following the recent groundbreaking of the Tulay para sa Kaunlaran project in Montalban, Rizal.
DWDD National News.
For our national news, a number of barangays in Metro Manila and in northern and central Luzon are threatened by rain-induced landslides and flooding this week. According to the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, Mines and Geosciences Bureau, the low-pressure area spotted 140 kilometers east-northeast of Apari, Cagayan, and strengthening the southwest monsoon or habagat, bringing rains in Luzon. Some areas in Metro Manila could experience rainfall of 50 to 100 millimeters for the rest of the week. This includes 117 barangays in Manila, 140 in Quezon City, and 92 in Caloocan. 33 barangays in Valenzuela, 21 in Malabon, 18 in Navotas, 16 in Marikina, and 1 in Pasig could also experience rainfall. In Cagayan Valley region, 118 barangays are susceptible to landslides and flooding.
Armed Forces Radio.
Let us hear more updates from Gina about 6ID taps media as key partner in disaster response, hosts DRRM training.
Yes, Rofh, the 6th Infantry Division and Joint Task Force Central recognized the vital role of media in disaster response during a disaster risk reduction and management orientation for journalists at Camp Shongko, Maguindanao. The event, organized in partnership with the Office of Civil Defense BARM, aimed to strengthen media capacity in delivering timely, accurate information during natural calamities and emergencies. OCD BARM Regional Director Retired Colonel Joel Q. Mamon emphasized the media is a lifeline in disaster scenarios, supporting early warning, risk communication, and real-time reporting. The activity included insights from Pag-asa on weather monitoring and gathered journalists from various platforms under the Campilan Defense Press Corps. This is Gina reporting for AFP Community News, 1 AFP for Stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Gina.
DWDD National News.
Malnutrition and nutrient deficiencies rates among Filipinos have dropped significantly. This is based on new data presented by the Department of Science and Technology Food and Nutrition Research Institute. FNRI officials said rates of stunning Underweight and overweight among children under 5 years old were lower than in previous years. FNRI Chief Science Research Specialist Dr. Mildred Gurindela explained this means that fewer Filipino households are experiencing inadequate food access, and this correlates with better nutrition metric across the vulnerable groups.
DWDD National News.
The Commission on Elections efficiently administered the 2025 midterm polls despite challenges. The European Union Election Observation Mission presented its findings and conclusions after observing the country's electoral process. It said the COMEC administered the elections efficiently, took proactive measures to promote inclusiveness, and attempted to address the entrenched vote-having or vote-buying practices. However, European Parliament Marta Temido said that the COMEC's extensive powers to exclude and disqualify candidates based on non-objective criteria and to suspend the proclamation of duly elected officials are not in line with key international standards.
Armed Forces Radio.
More updates from El Joy of First Year G about 91st IB empowers former rebels, uplift farmers through sustainable tilapia livelihood in Aurora.
Yes, Rofh, the 91st Infantry Sinagtala Battalion, 7th Infantry Kaugnay Division, Philippine Army, supported a sustainable livelihood project benefiting local farmers and former mass-based supporters through a successful community-led aquaculture harvest in Barangay Bazal. Hundreds of kilograms of tilapia were harvested and sold by the Samahan na Nagkakaisang Magbubukid Association Bazal, a grassroots people's organization composed of local farmers and former conflict-affected residents. This marked a significant milestone in the military-assisted reintegration and livelihood development efforts under the 91st Infantry Battalion's Mobile Community Sustainment Support Program. Through close coordination with Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, local government units, partner agencies, and civil society organizations, the 91st Infantry Battalion ensures that its whole-of-nation approach addresses not only security concerns but also the root causes of insurgency such as poverty, isolation, and lack of opportunity. The Samahan na Nagkakaisang Magbubukid Association Bazal, under the leadership of Mr. Jeff Sugilon, continues to serve as a model for post-conflict rural development, demonstrating how unity, commitment, and interagency collaboration can transform communities once vulnerable to insurgent recruitment. The 91st Infantry Sinagtala Battalion reaffirms its commitment to building a future where former rebels become empowered stakeholders and once fragile communities rise as symbols of resilience and hope in Aurora. This is Meljo Nesho Aroko reporting for AFP Community News. One AFP for stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Maljoy of First CRG.
DWDD National News.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is optimistic that the Philippines can hit its goal of reaching an upper middle income status during his presidency. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro issued the statement after the World Bank's latest country classification retained the Philippines as a lower middle income economy. Castro said the Marcos administration would double its efforts in order to attain this status. She added that the government will strive to achieve this, even if there are still global conditions amid what's happening now.
DWDD National News.
The Commission on Filipinos Overseas in the Philippine Stock Exchange have teamed up to encourage the Filipino migrants and their families to invest in the Philippine stock market. CFO Chairperson Dante Ang II said he signed a memorandum of agreement last month with PSE President and Chief Executive Officer Ramon Monzon, which makes PSE one of the partner resource agencies of the CFO's Balink Bayan project. The Balink Bayan project provides overseas Filipinos with various services such as investment and business opportunities and government services tailored for Filipinos outside the country, and said CFO will use its partnership with PSE to give overseas Filipinos opportunities to take part in national development beyond remittances through investments.
Armed Forces Radio.
From NOCOM, let us hear some information from Juan about 17 IB bridges government support to local farmers.
The 17th Infantry Battalion of the 5th Infantry Division Philippine Army continues to serve as a vital link in promoting livelihood and sustainable development through its support for people's organizations. One of its most successful initiatives is the Sambayanan Cagayan Valley Agricultural Cooperative, which not only thrives on its own but also assists the 17th IB in forming more people's organizations within its area of responsibility. These organizations are endorsed by the unit to government agencies for livelihood support that benefits their members. Through the government's program for people's organization, the 17th IB facilitated the Sambayanan Cagayan Valley Agricultural Cooperative's access to a parcel of land which the cooperative will temporarily utilize for a period of 25 years. This land will be used for agricultural activities including crop cultivation and livestock raising to boost the cooperative's income-generating efforts. The 5th Infantry Division through the 17th IB remains committed to supporting and mentoring its people's organizations, ensuring the continued development of their livelihood initiatives. The unit pledges to remain a steadfast bridge connecting community efforts with government agencies for project support and sustainable growth. This is John Sagak reporting for AFP Community News 1 AFP for Stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Juan from Nolco.
DWDD National
For
News.
other national news, Customs Commissioner Ariel Nepomuceno has ordered the suspension of all enforcement orders issued prior to his watch. In a memorandum, he specifically recalled and suspended the implementation of all previously approved but unserved letters of authority and mission orders. Nepomuceno explained that the move is meant to review all pending enforcement actions and ensure that operations are properly tracked and aligned with current priorities. The new customs chief added that they aim to clearly determine what actions are still pending and ensure that all enforcement efforts are legally sound, properly documented, and aligned with the Bureau's direction moving forward.
DWDD National News.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. will study the proposed measures seeking to ban the political dynasties and legalize the absolute divorce. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said the president has no official stance regarding the two refiled bills. Castro said it would be better if they could provide details of the bill because it is difficult for the president to say yes or no at this time. Asked if Marcos would support the anti-political dynasty bill, he said everything should be balanced.
Armed Forces Radio.
From our reporter on the ground, let us hear the report of Shah about 47 IB, Kabangkalan LGU, turnover rebuilt home damage in anti-NPA clash.
Yes, Rofh, the 47th Infantry Katapatan Battalion and the Kabangkalan City Government formally turned over the newly renovated house in Barangay Tapi, Kabangkalan City. The house owned by Mr. and Mrs. Marcelo Agit was the only civilian property damaged during a successful military encounter against the New People's Army rebels last April 27. Led by Major Benji Miranda and Lieutenant Colonel Dennis S. Martinez, the ceremony highlighted the Philippine Army's commitment not just to security but also to post-conflict recovery. The local government fully funded and improved the house with the support from the Army. This is Shaina Araneta reporting for AFP Community News 1 AFP for Stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Shaina.
DWDD National News.
Senator Panfilo Lacson wants to strengthen and modernize the country's laws against espionage and other crimes that undermine the national security. Lacson filed the proposed new Anti-Espionage Act to increase the penalties for such offenses. He said recent technological advancements, along with the potential involvement of foreign jurisdictions in the country's political and governmental affairs, have exposed significant gaps in Commonwealth Act 616. Lacson added that these shortcomings underscore the urgent need to amend and modernize the laws.
DWDD National News.
Zambales 1st District Representative Jay Kong-hoon filed a resolution seeking a probe to Prime Water Infrastructure Corporation. Kong-hoon's resolution asked the House to direct the proper committee to conduct the inquiry in aid of legislation. It aims to come up with a view of developing a strong legal and regulatory framework that ensures transparency, accountability, empowerment of water districts, and the protection of the consuming public's welfare. The lawmaker also said the residents of Subic had repeatedly expressed severe frustrations over prime water's services.
Armed Forces Radio Report.
On the other line, let's hear more from Beth Tañete about Philippine Navy deploys vessel for Ormoc Fluvial Procession and 428 Festa celebration.
The Naval Forces Central deployed a surface asset to Ormoc Bay in support of the 420th Fiesta celebration honoring the St. Veteran Fall, led by Como Joselito Eddie Guzman, NFC, supported for the Ormoc Parish invitation to participate the Fluvial Procession, one of the city's most revered religious traditions. The event highlighted faith, unity, and cultural heritage with wide participation from local government, uniformed personnel, civilians, and religious groups. The Navy's presence highlighted its commitment to community engagement and support to the national heritage. This is Bethaneta reporting for the AFP Community News, 1 AFP for the stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Beth Tañete.
DWDD National
Justice
News.
Secretary Jesus Crispin Remulla said that the Department of Justice is pushing forward with its investigation into the disappearance of 34 sabongeros or cockfighting aficionados. Remulla said the case has gone beyond private complaints and is now a matter of national concern. He explained that the case is already in the interest of the state or the people. It will be brought to an end. The Secretary also confirmed that the DOJ has been building up the case for nearly 3 years and is now nearing the stage of formal charges against several suspects, possibly including the public figures.
DWDD Armed Forces News.
And that concludes today's broadcast, and thank you for tuning in, especially to our audience on AFP Radio DWDD's Facebook page. Be sure to join and catch us again next week for more stories and updates, same time and same station. Once again, this is Rofh Suzon-Abay for AFP Committee News, 1 AFP for a stronger Philippines.
Behold the latest military news update. This is AFP Community News, hosted by Rofh Suzon every 12 noon, Mondays to Fridays. Only here on DWDD Armed Forces Radio. 1 AFP for a stronger Philippines.
Ito ang DWDD 1134 kHz AM. Balita, impormasyon at musika. Ito ang DWDD AFP Radio. Boses ng Kawal Pilipino.
Kayo ay nakatutok sa DWDD AFP Radio. Kami po ay kasapi ng KBP, Kapisanan ng mga Broadcaster ng Pilipinas.